So I've been really going back and forth on what I want to do on this channel. I really liked doing my talking videos and I really liked doing the ASMR. It was giving meditation, relaxation, embodiment vibes. And so I was just feeling really called to figure out a solution where I could do both in a way that made the most sense to me and what I want to share with you. And I didn't know what that was, but I knew that my heart knew. And so last night, I started to feel a little bit of anxiety because I knew I was going to film today and I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know if I was going to do another ASMR video. I didn't know if I was going to do a talking video. I didn't know the direction I wanted to go in. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to go into my heart space. I'm going to meditate. I set a timer for 10 minutes and 44 seconds. Don't judge me. And I also put on some binaural beats in the background, some meditation music, and I was like, okay, I'm giving myself 10 minutes to see what my heart says. I kid you not, my heart was so quick with this download from my soul, from source, from God, the highest of all. And it didn't just tell me the video I'm gonna do today, which I'm doing right now. It told me the direction I need to take my channel in. And I was like, okay, I will listen to you. You know best. And so that happened in all of like 30 seconds of me going into my heart space. It was that clear. It was that loud. And when I say loud, it was actually subtle, but like because I was focusing on my heart space, I heard it clearly, loud and clear. And it told me I need to figure out a way to incorporate both the ASMR, the embodiment, with the information, because that's what I need to be sharing. So that led me to this video on following your true heart's desires, because my true heart's desire wanted me to do this and share it with you. And it also told me that the next video that you will be seeing next week will be a guided meditation on how to get in touch with your true heart's desires. The embodiment practice that I've been practicing, I'm going to formulate it in a guided meditation for you to use as well. But anyway, if you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Julia. If you are not and you've been here for a while, thank you for coming back. Clearly, I'm going to be sharing with you how to get in touch with your heart's desires, to figure out what's the difference between just any old desire and what is your true heart's desire, because there is a difference. And I will explain to you the clear difference, and I'll also explain to you how to get in touch with your true heart's desires on your own if you so wish to do so. I hope y'all don't hear that. There's a lot of sirens. I also channeled some notes onto my iPad so that we can stay on track here. But I want to start with, what is your true heart's desires? How do you decipher that? Where is that coming from? Like, what even is that? So within your deepest heart's desire, there are two core desires that actually equal one when put together, and that is the desire for love and the desire for freedom, which equal God or source, universe, whatever you want to call all there is. Love and freedom together is that. But love and freedom are actually two sides of the same coin, if you were to picture source as a coin. So when we love something, we set it free, and love is free. So basically they're interchangeable, and desires that stem from this place are of integrity, and they will guide you through life. They tend to bring about unity, togetherness, and wholeness. They take into account the good of all involved, even if you're not fully aware, because they come from God or source, whatever you want to call it. They follow your soul's plan. They can take any form, and they are typically derived from your heart space. So that is the criteria that I sort of go by when I'm trying to figure out if this is actually a true heart's desire versus the opposite, which we're gonna get right into now. Fear has desires too, and these ones can be very tricky because our fears come from the human ego. They're of illusion, they're of falsehood, because in truth, all is the one. So these aren't real in a spiritual sense, they're only real in a human 3D consciousness world sense. So yes, our fears that we experience, they appear real to us because they manifest as real things physically, like in our lives. But in a spiritual sense, in the higher realms, in the higher frequencies, they do not exist. They are not real, they are just illusions, ideas, things that we can debunk when we're above them. But when we're in them, they feel extremely real. And when we are in them, we can create more of them because energy flows to where your focus goes. So if you want to create more falseness, more illusion, more fear, then you focus there. Then you live from fear. Because we are so abundantly loved by all there is, because we are all there is, that we have the free will and the ability to create the illusion of lack, fear, suffering. And we have such that ability to create it that we can manifest it into a physical way so that it feels real. Although when we strip everything away, there is love and there is no more fear. So therefore it's not real, because what is real cannot be threatened, cannot be taken away from you. You can take that fear away, but what's underneath it is love, and you can never take that away. So therefore the only real thing is the love, is the all there is, the God, because God is equal to love and freedom, which is one. There we go. Anyway, so these fear desires, they all stem from a place of self-preservation. Our body was designed this way. So when we come into this world, it's not our fault that we have all these fear desires. It's because we are in these bodies that don't last forever. They come with a programming. They also come with a societal conditioning of self-preservation, of protection, of these more primal human nature aspects, which include fear. Because our DNA is built with that piece, that part. It is our job to differentiate it and overcome it. But we'll get to that later. So this often causes a feeling of separation. At our core, it's the divide from love, but we'll see it as a divide from others or things that we truly desire. So our fear will only take into account the self or a select few that we take as a part of ourselves. So that could be like your family, your friends, your culture, your country, or city, or state, your sports team, and all else, everything else, everyone else is the enemy to you and those that you take in as your select few when you're operating from fear, of course. They follow the lower human urges. These desires can take any form as well, and they are typically derived from the mind space, whereas the heart's desires are the heart space. Fear lives in the mind, love lives in the heart. The good news is we can get our minds to match our hearts through practice. So this can look like sometimes a battle between your mind and your heart, a battle between your logic and emotion, a battle between your fear and your feelings of love. So the good news is we can actually practice getting out of the mind into our bodies and into our hearts to hear the desire, because sometimes the fear in the mind will be so loud that we can't hear anything else. And when it is like that, we tend to follow the fear because that's all we're hearing. But the good news is, the more we practice listening to our hearts and following it, the quieter our minds get, the louder our hearts get, and the easier it is to stick to the truth and follow our most divine path. In the beginning though, the fear, also known as our ego, can be very tricky to spot, and it changes form. Sometimes you'll hear a voice that's actually coming from a fear place, but it sounds like it might be loving, it sounds like it might be connecting, but really it's from fear. An example of this would be like, let's say you have an anxious attachment and you get this urge to call your partner over and over again to make sure everything is good. That might seem like it's connecting you to them, but it's actually driving them away because you're acting out of fear versus acting out of loving care. If you were to call them out of a loving care place only, without the fear of like, oh, maybe they're doing this, maybe they're doing that, then that would be an act of love. And however they respond to that, that's on them. But you are acting from love when you're reaching out of genuine care for the connection and that person. The more you practice living from love, the easier it gets to differentiate what is love versus fear. Also, I want to come back to that point that I made earlier about how our bodies and our DNA come with fears already built in, whether it's ancestral trauma or the fact that just being a human being comes with these primal instincts of self-preservation and protection because of the elements and everything else just existing on a planet in human form. And that is, when we live from our love and our heart's desires, we upgrade our bodies to the higher frequencies of love light, God, source consciousness, Christ consciousness, whatever you want to call it. And what I mean by that is through truly living and acting, thinking, being love, we not only heal our bodies, but we upgrade them to a newer version, a better version, where we are peeling back the fear instincts. And so the generations that come after us, their DNA will get these upgrades that we create within our bodies. And that's happening right now. That's happening on the whole planet. The whole planet is getting upgraded right now to these higher frequencies of love. It is the new earth that everyone talks about. It is the new age, the new era of evolution. And so we are getting to a higher and higher, faster and faster accelerated rate of this embodiment of love. And so if we are not living from that place, we are going to be slowly eliminated from the planet, because as the planet rises its frequency, so do we, and we have to rise with it. But because we have free will, we can still choose fear. We can still choose to follow the fear desires and stay there, but we also don't have to. We can choose to integrate and be a part of this expansion, this evolution, this rising up. And with that being said, I want to get into how we can practice really getting in touch with our true heart's desires to be the most authentic versions of ourselves that we came to be on this earth. Our souls came here to bring the love, and we are in these bodies trying to figure out how to do it. And when you don't know how, it can be very frustrating. So I came up with some practices that I use that I want to share with you. So first things first, we have to really slow everything down. We have to take a step back. Sometimes that means we need to take a moment to ourselves, however long that moment needs to be. But we need to give ourselves the space and time to get in touch with our hearts. Because this is a practice, I would say to do this daily. If you could take even just 4 minutes and 44 seconds to slow down, that's all you need. Next, after you slow down, it's time to get in touch with your breath. Take mindful, deep, full belly breaths. So if you're gonna do this for 4 minutes and 44 seconds, do that throughout the 4 minute and 44 second duration. Fully breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, slowly. And if you can take this practice and implement it in your life and pay attention to your breath throughout the day, just imagine how in touch you're gonna start to be with your body and your heart. Once you got the breathing down, it's time to get present and focused into your heart space. Focus on that heart chakra. Focus on the vibrations, the sensations, anything that you feel right here in the center of your chest. Watch as your mind begins to still itself, whatever thoughts you're thinking. As you focus on your heart space, they start to get quieter and quieter and quieter. And your heart begins to sound a little louder and a little louder. You start to hear that beat. So at this point in time, you can either ask a question to your heart or just be with it. See what messages come up. See what you need to hear. If you do ask a question, allow the answers to come to you and don't force it. Sometimes you aren't meant to hear them right in that moment, so they might come to you later, and that's okay too. And lastly, practice this every day. And the more you practice it, the more it will become muscle memory, and the more you'll be able to just instantly do it. Like, you'll be out and about and you can ask your heart a question, be like, does this align with my heart's truest desires? Answer. Like, you'll just know as you practice it more and more, you'll get more comfortable with it, and you'll know the difference between a fear thought and a heart desire. So that's it for this video. Please let me know if you try this out. I love you so much, and I will see you in my next video next week. Bye.